The difference between a novel and a comic book is one thing: the artwork. And Spider-Man has been privy to some of the best artists in the history of the business working on his title. So right now, I'm going to go through a list of my personal top 5 favorite Spider-Man artists. You may like some of them, you may hate some of them. Now, before I do the list, I'm grading the importance of the art as well as the quality of the art. So, while maybe a few people on this list I think aren't the greatest artists, their impact on the character is too important to leave off. So without further ado, let's get into this. Number 5, Sal Buscema. A name you probably don't know, but an artist you can't avoid. Sal Buscema is in the upper echelon of Marvel greats. His tenure on the character began way back in the 1970s, but it wasn't until the end of the 80s that Buscema became synonymous with the character, with his run on Spectacular Spider-Man, which is the same series he drew the inaugural issue of. Personally, I like Sal's style for its drama, anatomy, and storytelling. It's very sharp, but it's very powerful. A notable suggestion of Sal's work would be the Spectacular Spider-Man issue number 200, where Harry Osborn, as the Green Goblin, dies. It's a powerful story, the paneling is great, the art is great. Do yourself a favor and pick up the issue. And the cover is spectacular. Pardon my pun. Number 4, Mark Begley. Many artists only have one iconic run with a character. In the rare case that the artist has a second comeback run, it's even rarer that outdoes the original. Such is the case with Mark Begley. Begley began his tenure in the early 90s following comics heavy hitter Eric Larson and continued the trend of success with the Web-Slinger. Nearly a decade later, Begley would return for his legendary run on Ultimate Spider-Man. No matter which run you prefer, you're going to get quality draftsmanship, great storytelling, and epic action. Personally, I enjoy Begley's early 90s run and suggest anything inked by Randy Emberlin. You're going to get slick, perfectly rendered artwork that stands the test of time. Number 3, John Romita Jr. One of the few true superstar artists working today, John Romita Jr.'s unique style of action and drama meshed well with the wall crawler. Like his father, John Romita Sr., Jr. built his legacy off the back of Spider-Man by bringing intense action and solid storytelling to the table. Jr.'s Spider-Man moves in a way that his father's version never could, and that is what really distinguishes his work from Sr.'s. Personally, I like Romita Jr.'s earlier work because it resembles a then-contemporary rendition of his father's style, while retaining the clean line work. A close second would be his late 2000s run. It was comforting to have such a familiar look to Spider-Man, while the character barely resembled himself on the writing home front. Number 2, Todd McFarlane. To many, Todd McFarlane is the quintessential Spider-Man artist that revolutionized the character. To me, he's one of the most important artists to ever draw the character, but I do have issues with his art. His figures are mushy, his women are ugly, and his anatomy is sketchy at best. But the cool factor combined with the impact on the character puts Todd McFarlane high on this list. His tenure wasn't very long, so I recommend everything, but a highlight would be The Amazing Spider-Man number 300. The first full appearance of Venom is a great story with an awesome climax, and as a side note, I spent $175 on the issue, which I don't regret at all. But back to McFarlane's impact, he created the spaghetti webbing. Well, he popularized spaghetti webbing. He himself has admitted to stealing it from Michael Golden, who is a superior illustrator, but he's not very well known. McFarlane also really increased the size of the eyes. For the most part, Spider-Man's eyes stayed relatively the same post John Romita. McFarlane made them giant. We're talking whole sides of his mask are nothing but eyes. He also increased the webbing count, and he changed the poses. A lot of the crazy poses that Spider-Man does in the films come directly from McFarlane, because before that, Spider-Man just kind of swung in a traditional manner. Maybe he would hang upside down, maybe he would crawl the wall a certain way, but he wasn't quintuple jointed the way he is when McFarlane drew it. So, personal opinions aside on the art, he has to be number 2 because he basically created the modern Spider-Man as we know it today. Number 1, John Romita Sr. John Romita did not create Spider-Man. John Romita did not design the suit, but John Romita perfected the look of Spider-Man. His Spider-Man is the Spider-Man you imagine when you close your eyes. It is perfect in every way. The change between he and Ditko wasn't as stark as other artistic transitions, but the impact was unparalleled. So much so that Romita's style became the Marvel house style for decades. Even to this day, Romita's artwork is still used on everything from t-shirts to beach towels. When John Romita took over artistic duties, Spider-Man began to rise in popularity and became the Mickey Mouse of Marvel, and the character has remained there ever since. Personally, Romita's Spider-Man is the real Spider-Man. When I read the Ditko issues, I'm subconsciously waiting for Romita's issues to begin, and after Romita left, I'm looking forward to art that looks just like his. Notable suggestions of his work are anything inked by Jim Mooney. I think that is the perfect inker-pencil combination. So there you go, there's my list of just 5 Spider-Man artists. I could do 25 artists. We could even do guys like John Byrne, who only drew him a few times in one-off series like Marvel Team-Ups. But Spider-Man, as I said earlier, has some of the best artists working on him. Sadly, the art for Spider-Man today has kind of hit a weird place. You got guys like Humberto Ramos, who I am not a fan of. That man actually turned me off from buying the comic book in general because I don't like the thin neck, the giant head, the square fingers. I want my comics to look real to a degree. I'm never one to indulge in the over-stylization of artwork. And when Spider-Man looks realistic, I'm really happy. As always, this is my opinion, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. But you can tell me what you think about Spider-Man artists down in the comments below. Do you have a favorite artist? Do you know a Spider-Man artist? Probably not, but you know what? Check them out. There's some other great ones out there, and you're basically going to just be looking at some of those beautifully drawn comic book pages in history. We'll be back later on in the week with more content for Spider-Man Month, and make sure to like and subscribe and comment. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back later.